Okay.
Alright. Everybody set up. I can put you guys in a different group. Are you sure? Okay. I was planning to because since you guys, I don't know if somebody else walks in. George is not here.
Then you fix it.
Oh, I fixed it. So
The sound is working.
it's working.
It is?
Okay.
I was going to say, if it's coming through the mic or the computer, I wasn't sure.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So who are you with? What?
Instead of a crystal piano where you pick the one that's so it's like after each round they're going to evolve to the next level, and they're
Yeah. Either you can have 3 or 4. Since
for the next one, there's like 2 choices. You can either do the crystal game or anyway, so
all right. Everybody settled. Okay. So here's what we are going to do today. Okay. So now you guys, you're with me. So if you guys have live share installed, the preferred method is that one person is typing, okay, and everybody is looking at their screens, and then you switch after 10 minutes. Since this is a 90 to 95-minute project, so after 10-15 minutes, switch around, give the control to somebody else starts typing. The person who's typing usually is not thinking. Everybody else is thinking, but he's just like blindly typing. Usually that's what happens. So the people who are not typing are the one who are kind of thinking and kind of guiding them. So that's why you don't want to be in that non-thinking position for the whole 90 minutes. So that's why I'm saying after 10 minutes, take a break, switch, give it to somebody else, and somebody else keeps typing. And live share is good that you don't have to switch your Mac versus Windows. It works on all of them, so somebody else can take the control. You don't even have to do anything. You just start typing, and the other person already has control. Okay. If you're not using live share, then yeah, look into one PC and kind of switch around. Whatever works for you guys. Okay. All right. So we'll come to that. We'll give you some 5 minutes setup time. Okay. All right, everybody ready? So it's still not the project time. I want you guys to look at few activities first, and this is the scope thing that we did on Saturday. Okay, so now as a group, I want you guys to look at this piece of code. Nick or Troy are going to have Nick has slacked out the code. As a team, look at that code and try to see what is going on. Okay. So we'll take just like 10 minutes. So there are 3 exercises that we are going to do. This is the first one. In this exercise, look at the code. This is the first situation, and after the comment, this is the second situation. Look at both situations. Run the code, and then see why is the output different. And it has to do with the scope. All right. So work with your group, discuss among your group, and then if you get it, try to explain it to your group, and then in like few minutes we'll discuss as a class.
very beginning of my function A1. In that function, it said my var 5 minus 3. So then it should be 2. Then immediately after that, I call function B1, which it's right below it. So
I guess where is that
we're actually running off of this function. That's where we're starting. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's totally. I had to look through it too. I was just like, wait, but where are we starting? We're starting down there,
Okay, so now it's calling Q1,
which is just
an alert.
So let's say Q1, and it would put my var, it would put Q1 type colon space 2. And then after that, once we dismiss that alert, then it would put alert Q1 a whatever values
And not
is my
so,
var.
like it did it
What happened, or-
Yeah, no, it's 2, and then call B1, and after
it's when I would assume that it's when we come. It's basically we could just stick this. From my understanding, we could just stick that right there, and just pretend that it's written like the way I understand the functions are just like variables. Whereas instead of specific data, we're telling it to do specific actions. So it's just like, take this thing that I've written over here and do it right here. So
yeah, so basically all you did was just take the F1
yeah, I just stuck that one in there. Is that what happens? Oh, and then it runs situation.
It's the same thing.
All right, let's see. Dante, Roland, Reggie, what do you guys think? Situation 1. Walk me through what's going on. So I'm not even asking what the answer is. What is it? Just walk me through line number 17 to 28. Start with line number 17. Okay, excellent. You guys hear that? Variable declared. Good. All right. 19. Yes. Okay. So this is the definition, or are you calling this function right now? That's just a definition. All right, guys. This is just a definition. No calling. All right. Keep going. This line. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's stop over here. Let's come to this one. What is line number 25? Definition. Good. Okay. So declaration or definition of a variable, definition of a function A1, and definition of a function B1. Right? All right. Line number 28. What's going on in line number 28? Okay. Excellent. All right, everybody clear with that? So we are defining, and line number 28, we are calling that function. Okay? Yeah. Blair and group. Divana. All right, line number 28. What happens when you call number 928? Let's now go. You are calling and walk me through. So you declare, you call, and then?
Yeah, so you go back into the function and you're declaring a new my var one.
Ah, are you declaring?
No, sorry.
Okay.
Setting
Awesome. Setting it. Excellent. Okay.
and then you're calling function D1.
Okay. So my var1 at this point has a value of 2,
Yep.
and then you call 21. Okay. Keep going. So what happens after 21 when you call that?
So then it goes to the other function and then alerts you for that.
For that, what is the value for my var1?
2.
2. Everybody agrees?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it? Did you run this and did it come up with 2?
Yeah.
Okay. So keep going.
Put B first.
What is it?
So put B first.
Put B first.
Like it said, Q1 B is plus.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. So let's go back then. Line number 22. What was the output?
And it lets you that Q1 is 2. Again, it's the same.
Okay. Excellent. Let's go ahead and run this. All right. So everybody okay with this? You know, this is the a bit simpler one. I mean, you're calling a function, then it has a nested function. It looks for the variable, not the global one because you already are. This one is available over here with the new value, and it shows you the new value. Okay. Let's see. Ches, Geoffrey, and Ali. Let's do the next one. Situation 2. Was the output different first when you guys ran it versus 1 and 2? It's the same? Okay. Except, okay, let's see. Go ahead. Declaring a new variable 2, okay?
Yeah, my var 2 is 1.
Okay.
And then you're declaring what the function is.
Okay.
And then you're defining. Well, it looks like you're reassigning.
You were right the first time.
When you're defining.
Declaring. Now, what Blair was saying in the previous one, in this case, you see the difference?
Yeah.
You were using the same one. This time you are declaring. So this means in this scope, my var2 is like a new variable. Right? It doesn't recognize the top one anymore.
Okay.
Okay?
So then you're declaring in the A2 function.
Okay.
My var is a new number, which is 2.
Okay.
And then the B2 function.
Okay. So what's the alert that comes first?
B2.
B2, and it is? It's what? 1. So that's the why is it 1?
Because it's pulling the my2 variable in there first.
This one is looking at the global one. Why? Because there's no my var2 in this scope. Then it has to go and look up the scope that it is part of, and then it finds this one. That's why it says 1. Okay. So this scope is this thing, right? It doesn't find my var2 over here, so it has to go above a scope. Now these two are siblings. They're on the same level, so it doesn't care or know about this function. It doesn't care about that. It has to go. It's going to look for my var2 above in a space and scope. Yes.
Probably because you're declaring it, and you can do something before you declare it as long as you declare it, right?
Say that again.
The way that the B2 is, the function is nested in the function.
Oh yes.
So
Yes.
the reason why its scope is still beholden to
Right.
global variable.
Yes. So what Blair is saying that I'm calling this function over here, but I'm declaring it down, right? Again, this is one of the weirdness of JavaScript. You can declare a function later on and then call it earlier. What happens is when JavaScript runs, they consider functions and variable as first-class citizens. What it means is whenever it finds a function definition, it's going to put it up. It's going to, the concept called hoisting. It takes those up and puts it on the top, right? So it goes through your code, sees the definitions, picks those definitions, and puts it on the top. So when you call this, in memory, it's kind of declared on the top. JavaScript kind of knows that already. So that's why you are able to perform that. And the concept called hoisting. Okay, good question. All right, so and what is the value for A, Joffrey? The value for A, you didn't complete this part. 38. I can't see. Line number 38. You're not supposed to read this. You're supposed to see this and guess. No, don't look at the alert. Yeah, that's why you're focusing on the wrong part. This is line number 38. Yeah. A is 2, and why is it 2? Because it has a variable in its scope. It's not looking for this one anymore. Why? Because it has a new definition. It kind of finds this over here, and that's why it switched to. It will just read that because first it will look at within its scope. If it doesn't find it, then it goes. That's the difference between the two situations. Okay, everybody gets it? No?
I'm just having the difference between situation 1 and situation 2. They're both exactly, they're not exactly the same thing.
Right. Yeah, they are not because they don't have a variable declaration over here.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, and that's why it becomes different. That was the spot the difference. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I get it now.
Oh, that was easy. Oh, he was asking that what's the difference? So the difference is you are redeclaring this, so it's a new variable in this scope. It kind of resides over here only. It doesn't look for the global anymore. In the other case, yeah.
Got it.
Okay, excellent. All right, now let's do the next one. All right. Look at the next exercise. These are going to be slide to you. This is using the object and the this keyword. We saw this also on Saturday. Take a look at it and see what is going on.
I mean, that's what it is. That's how it is. So, like in example 1, how it says console log this. Yeah, so, like, it's talking about in that context. And if you look at the console, it says window. So, what I'm thinking is that in this context, like at the very top, like we have the window. So if we call this, it's talking about the window.
there two objects after we have that?
And then in the example two, it's just the same thing, the same function. All that.
So it has to reach out to the main
Consequently, this object down. So it's just talking about the object. That object is so I think you're right. Yeah.
Are we just?
I was just going by example.
So then, this. Yeah. So now I'm saying here
Or define it. I think declare variable, define it. Defining my function. So yeah, this is just like talking about the object that it's immediately in. So I guess like, since we're always in an object, the object in that at that point is the window. Declare a variable, define a function. So we're declaring a variable, some objects. So this isn't always the window. This is referring to the object in which it's small. So because that one was just like not in a specified object, it was just yeah. In this case, because we're declaring we're defining the function in the same property of this object, I think this is talking about the object sub-object. So if we're saying this dot name, we're going to call the name of all sub-object. And then if we look at console,
So you should have clicked on the link and you should have opened a new thing. We got to and then you open up that new video. Now give it a minute. And then you go to the
is my object value. So it looks like the Yell function in the Yell property is when it's this object dot name, which doesn't currently have one, it's going to give it the name star and hour. Then later we're declaring a variable, change name, and that variable is function. Or we take and put new name. And this name equals new name. Okay.
All right, let's take a look at this one. Okay. Matt, you want to kick us off? The first one. Pretty easy for you guys. Example one. What's going on? What's the output in example one? Window object, right? Everybody gets it, or do we need to go in detail? Example one, as Kyle is saying, it outputs a window object. Everybody good with it? There's no object, there's nothing, it's a global, so it is going to point to the window object. Okay? Example number two. John? Example two, function. You're console logging this, and then you call this function. What's the output? Still in global, so it still outputs a window object. Everybody gets it? Again, there's no change between the first and second. It's just wrapped in a function. Still as a global, so it still outputs a window object. Okay? Jeff, number three. It's kind of starting to get tricky.
It's calling the property name.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So what does it output? Red hat. Everybody gets it. If I want to access a property within my function, within my object, I just use this keyword dot name, and it goes ahead and brings me the property. All right. Everybody good with this? Yes, Randy.
Yeah. Can you go into that a little bit again?
So remember, in objects we have properties and functions, and within the function, if you want to use a property that is within this object, how do you access it? You cannot access it without the this keyword. If you use it without the this keyword, what happens? It's going to look for a global variable called name. But that's not what we are trying. We want to access the name over here, and the way to access it is this dot name, or the name of the object dot name. But we can't skip it because it's irrelevant. That's why we say this dot name. Again, this is if you want to access the property that is within this object. All right. If I remove this keyword, this, what happens? Exactly. I'm not referencing this property. It's going to look for the name which is declared somewhere globally. Right now, I don't have names. So it's going to give me an error saying undefined or something. Okay. Okay. All right, Michael and Jean, you guys get the hardware here. Oh, it's starting. All right. So what's going on over here? Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
So we are declaring a variable which we're calling my object, which is an object. It has the property name, which
Excellent.
is an empty string.
Yep.
We have another property called yell, which is a function. And
Okay.
inside that function, we are assigning the property name of the object this,
Right.
the string star power up. And then after that, we're declaring a variable, change name, which is equal to a function which can receive the input new name.
Yep. Okay.
And that function will then take the name of that object,
Right.
the property name of that object, and set it equal to the input of new name.
Okay. Yep.
And
So
that is the end of
right.
the function inside of Yelp. Then we are calling the variable
Yep. So you are on line number
56.
56. Yeah. Okay. You're calling that function.
Calling the function inside of the variable.
Excellent.
change name. We're giving it the input blue shell,
Okay.
which, according to the variable, will, in that scope, take the object this.
Okay.
We'll take this object and put in the name property
Mm-hmm.
blue shell, and then we're console logging this.
Okay. Excellent. Line number 60. What's the output?
In line number 60, the output should be star power up.
All right. You guys see that the output should be star power up. Why is that? Why not blue shell? And the reason I asked that I'm calling this function yell, right? And within the yell, I'm passing blue shell. Why is not blue shell getting printed out?
assign yell a function of star power,
Okay.
right? A string of star power.
Okay. No, I get this, but okay, now follow through. I said yell, right?
Yeah.
Call this function, goes here, good. And this is definition, so let's ignore this for now. We come over here, and then I call this function passing this, so it's calling. So this becomes relevant. So I call this function, it updates this property to blue shell, but when I log it, you're saying it says star power up. Why is that? Because what?
It's gonna take a while, yes.
Okay.
It's because we hoisted the
No, nothing to do with hoisting.
That's
What is it?
Yeah, go back, yes.
That's exactly executing change.
No, it is executing. Line number 56 is executing change name. I am calling that function. Michael, any idea?
So what I'm thinking is that we're working in the scope of that variable. So
Mhm.
this in question for the function change name
Okay.
is talking, in that context, it's talking about the variable change name.
Okay. Yeah. You guys are super close. So if I do console log this, what do you think is going to happen? What should it output? Should it output?
That time,
Star power.
No,
that
this.
time it
Which
will-
object? Is it
for
good?
53, I think 53 would output blue shell.
53. No. Okay. So this is an object. So don't worry about blue shell. Which object is it going to output? Window object or this object? No. Here again, listen to the question. This is not going to output blue shell or anything. I'm saying this is an object. Is it a window object or is it a my object? Ellie?
Yeah, I thought it was going to say my object, but then when I ran it, it just said
Back to
object.
global.
Why?
That's what confused
Yeah,
me.
you
It's
didn't
not- you didn't
point out
attach
to
anything.
anything, yeah.
Oh, because they lose focus.
Yes, that is
They
the
lose
answer.
focus when they
Excellent.
get- when you
So when you have a nested function in an object, it loses focus.
Please don't.
Remember? It loses focus. So I have a.
Back to the global.
Yes.
The window.
I'm glad somebody remembered.
They
All
get
right.
lost. They're not
I just didn't say it
distracted.
like that.
Yes. All right. Okay.
Yeah, it's lost focus.
It loses focus. Yes, Adi.
So it just said object because as far as I can see, there is no name to the object. So just
There is no name.
Yeah.
Right. So what happens if you log this and you open the in the browser? You will still see the name property. So JavaScript, what happens is if this property doesn't exist and you are trying to use, it just goes and adds it to that object. So your window object by default doesn't have a name property. I don't think it has. So what it does, it just goes and adds to it and says, hey, I think you're trying to add this new property to the window object, so I'm going to just add it and update it. That's what it does. But excellent observation. This is going to lose focus. So a function within a function, if you use this, it loses focus. That's why this is actually the window object. It doesn't. It's not the my object over here anymore. That's why you see star power up. So at this point, line number 57, what is this referring to? Which object is this? This one. What is this? Object, or is it my object, or is it with the window object?
Window.
Still,
No, why is it? So my function stops over here. This is the scope. I'm out of this function. I'm not calling that's also fine, but I'm accessing this over here. Right? This is within. This is the object. That's why you see star power up, because when you do this dot name, it's going to go over here and look up the object that it is in. All right. The only time it loses focus is when you call it within this function. At this point, I'm not calling this within any nested function. I'm just calling it in this function, which is on the top level, right? So that's why this over here is referring to this object. But if you call this within a function, which I'm doing in line number 51 to 52, this loses focus, and that's why this now starts pointing to a window object. So that's why if you console log, you will see window object, and this star power up, this is still that object, this object. That's why you see star power up.
It should throw an error.
No, JavaScript doesn't throw error. That'll be too easy.
Scripts, call it Randy scripts.
Yeah. All right, everybody good? Getting it? All right. Last one. Who wants to take the last one? Any group who wants to take the last one? Come on, this is the first time I'm not pointing to anybody. Nobody wants to take this step. This is the easier one. Ali.
Oh, I wasn't.
No, too bad now.
Sorry,
Go
I
ahead.
wasn't raising my hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody's going to move in the class now anymore. All right.
Sorry. Okay. What was the question?
Number 5. What's going on number 5?
So we're declaring a variable. We're declaring an object with,
Okay.
with the. We're declaring variable my object.
Okay.
We're assigning to the object with the property name. That's an empty string, and property yell. That's a function that inside the yell function.
Mm-hmm.
We're declaring a variable this object. We're assigning to this.
Right. So now line number 72. What are we doing again?
We're declaring a variable, this object
Okay.
we're assigning to this.
And what is this over here right now?
It is,
Is it my object or is it window?
it's my object.
It is my. Everybody good with this? All right. So I'm saving my object over here. Okay. Keep going. This dot name.
Then we are assigning this dot name
Okay.
property to
Okay.
star power up.
Okay. Excellent.
And then we're declaring variable change name.
Okay.
We're assigning it to the function.
Okay, so now again, you see the 75 line. This is a different way to declare a function. Basically, you are still creating a function. Remember, I showed you, right? If you have properties and you have function, this is how you declare a function. Okay, so you're declaring the function on line 75. Okay.
Okay, we're declaring the function.
Okay.
That takes the render new name.
Same thing as before,
Yeah, and then the function.
but this time in line 76, what is the difference from the previous one? We were using this. Instead, we are using
This object.
which is the variable that we declared. Okay. So let's skip to line 82. Now, when I call line 82, why is the output different? What happens when I call line number 82?
Okay, so because we assigned this to, because we assigned this object
Yep.
to this,
Mm-hmm.
then this object dot name is going to be
What's the output for this one? Is it blue shell or star power up?
it's
Geoffrey, Chess, what do you guys think? Blue shell or star power up? Blue shell. Well, there's a 50-50 chance. Either it's going to
But after you said blue shell, you gave
Yeah.
it brown
Yeah.
almost.
I see.
be right. It's going to, and why is it going to be blue shell? All right, the same code, but this is the solution for the first one. Like if you want to keep the state, right? Remember, this loses the state when you use it in a nested function. So this is the solution for that. If you want to keep that state, what do? You save that state within the parent function and then access that over here. All right, you see what I'm doing? This saved over here. Now over here, if I use this, it kind of loses focus, but I don't care about that because I have already saved it into a different object, different variable, and then I'm accessing this. That's why you see blue shell. All right, you cannot use this within the nested function. Why? Because it loses focus. So before it loses focus, you save it and then use that. That's kind of the solution from the previous one if you're trying to console log blue shell. All right, if I output this object, this is referring to this my object over here. Okay, all right, do you guys get it? I know it's kind of tricky. Yes.
Declaring this as a variable, just so. What's the reason you're doing this?
I'm saying what is happening over here. If I say what this object is equal to this, I'm assigning whatever this object is to this, right? That's what you do in a variable, right? You save something in a variable. So at this point, I saved this. And what is this referring to? My object, right? So I saved it over here. Now remember what's the problem in the previous one? If you try to access this dot name or console log this over here, what is this referring to in this context? It's a what? Is it a window object or is it my object?
Your object.
No.
No, you're right.
Why? Because it's in a function, nested function. It loses focus, right? So I cannot. This was the problem in the previous one. I cannot do this dot name anymore because it is not my object. It's actually window object. So to still refer to this thing, what do I have to do? The solution is you save it before it loses focus and then use this when you want to access it. So this way you are referring to this one and not losing the focus.
When can you use the return property?
When can you use what?
Return?
The return property. Where is it?
Because I usually said that if there's a function, that's the function.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was that was not part of the object. All right. That was if you have a global function within that function, you have a nested function. The nested function is not available anywhere. Why? Because the parent function kind of hides it. So if you want to access that, the way is to you return that function from the parent. Yeah, that was the non-object version. This object version, the important part over here is this this keyword. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Kind of hazy.
How many times can you say this?
This.
No.
Is this referring to this or is this?
This function, this return returns.
This does so glad I'm not promoting it.
Right.
Could you imagine doing this over a live stream? Who's on first?
All right. Let's do the last exercise. Matt, you have a question? Good. Okay. Let's do the last exercise. Again, this exercise is at least don't do the bonus one. Bonus one, you guys can give it a try. It's kind of a little bit difficult. I'll pose the solution. It's kind of a scope we haven't covered, but it's for somebody really wants a challenge. But do these 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you should be absolutely comfortable in doing all these 4. And the reason I'm saying it's important because when we go into in a couple of weeks, when you look at our APIs and AJAX calls, right, this would be important. This is how you would be accessing what you're trying to access the data. So take a look at this and make sure everybody understands line number 38 to 41. So you have to code this out. Console log these things. So the line number 38 says console log, I found my glasses. So I found you would hard code it and then glasses is coming from. How do you access this basically? Okay. The second one is toothbrush. So how do you access the toothbrush? Where's toothbrush? Here. How do you access it? The cobweb is an object. Within cobweb, we have multiple objects. You see? If I minimize this, so main object, it has another object. I can tell this with the curly bracket. So I open this, then it has a property, string property, and then it has another object within it. It actually has 2 objects within this one. Okay? And this is not unusual. You'll be dealing with this a lot. Like this kind of object structure. So the part is how do you access glasses? This value. How do you access toothbrush? How do you access headphones? Where's headphones? This one. Yeah, console log this thing. And how do you access homework?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was. Because we don't have, I have mine anymore. Well, I have a file open, it's just not in a folder. And then you have the condition plus classes.
You don't have any classes. You have to access it
So because it's an object, we access them through dot notation.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So you're,
So right here I'm saying I'm calling the variable the cobweb, but since it's an object, I want specifically biggest web, then more specifically bigger web, and then we want items, and since that is an array, we want
I also type it myself.
let's see if I'm right.
I contributed. Yeah, I wanted to
Unless you're me, then you don't get unless you're me.
Bigger web. So the cobweb, biggest web, bigger web, items.
You guys getting it?
And what is your
You guys getting it? Okay.
dot. So leave it the top red dot.
That's one. That's using
Oh no, I was kidding.
yeah, you got it.
Got it? All four?
Oh, well, we did one.
No, if you get one, you're going to get all three. The first one is the more difficult one. The rest are easy.
Let's see. Until not long. I've done me for guys. I'm like, what is that? Because items is incorrect.
Okay.
Access that 0, 1, 2.
Okay, so it's just calling it. So wait.
So it's. So I'm doing it really, really deep. Like the longest way you probably hard code it. But in doing so, I'm understanding a lot.
Right.
So I'm not just web, just go.
Yeah. So you like the Slack and the
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when you do it, you have to go down each one. So I had to put the biggest and then the biggest.
It's just like an address.
Okay.
It's
That makes sense.
yeah. That's how I'm thinking about it. It's like you're going from the nation to the state to the county, city.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So we're trying
And then eventually we're going to get into somebody's health bag and pull out their toothbrush.
So you put dots in there
Eventually.
to concatenate that?
Sure. I do.
I don't think that's how you concatenate.
I don't know. Yeah. The only thing Yeah.
So these are
So my right? Okay. I don't know. It's like I know what I do, but I don't know what I do. Like my brain.
this is the attribute of whatever this is, right? So these are the same thing. These are essentially attributes of whatever is on either side of a plus sign. Like when they, the word that they use is that. So that just means
So you should be able
put
to
together. So that's one of the space
Right. But I'm trying to figure out so how do you get it in the right. So I was reading like regular now. I found so I do. You have an engine as where was it? Behavior lab. So the second classes. So you have to end it at the bigger web, and then you have to go to log it.
All right, let's do the first one, glasses. So the cobweb dot biggest web dot bigger web
Like that.
dot bigger web and dot items 0.
We're almost there. So
So you were
Toothbrush log the cobweb dot biggest web dot bigger web dot smaller web dot item toothbrush headphones.
should we take the out? No, you're almost there.
The cobweb dot biggest web dot other big web dot item should give you headphones. Last one is homework. Oops.
Oh yeah, the hard one. That's not happening.
The cobweb dot biggest web. Trying to get the homework. Dot bigger web. After bigger web, smaller web, and then tiny web dot items, and then this is 0, 1, 2, 3. Get homework. Okay. Good. Any questions? Yes.
On the actual word. Yeah, that highlighted because the colorizer helps it split. The yellow line, the purple bracket. Oh, there's more than one person. Yeah, the one that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Okay. All right. So let's take a break and we'll start the project at 8 o'clock. What was that?
they were busy figuring out what was going on because they're all sharing the same document. They're all changing things.
So she was changing things.
And they're
and I
like,
was
Oh.
they're like, what is this yellow line?
going on? trying to edit it.
Oh, okay.
Where was my cursor? It was too long.
Yeah, me too. I like it.
You might just be like
It's already zero. Yeah, I took it over.
Luckily, it was literally I had like done absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I did everything. The small things. I will eat
At that point, it's supposed to be a blackout job. And it did work at some point, but then I started doing things and trying to be creative, like see people online and
right.
wrote it all. I know what I wanted. I know what the function are written.
I do, and then yeah, I never know.
I'm like, I can come back to it. That's what I'm it's not like 50,000.
Yes.
Yeah. Like that.
Oh no, no, no.
I had those.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yes. Which one?
Sorry.
Toothbrush. Okay.
Because it's not an array, we do.
Yes. If it's not an array, just dot. No, no. Dot, you're trying to get the value. So dot item. So you would name the property, right? And then you will get the value out of it. Yeah. No, no. Yeah. Right. It doesn't. Yeah. It's only looks for property.
It makes sense if I don't know
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have to do the process.
Doing something wrong.
Oh yeah, I have a 4-year week. Yeah.
You figure it out.
What time was preschool now?
And 7 minutes.
Okay, so was it okay? Or yeah.
At 8 o'clock. Yeah.
I don't believe
It would never hurt.
All my friends are South Carolina. Yeah, oh, football. Yeah, now.
Oh, good.
You should have took a picture. You could have flagged it out.
That's exactly right. I'm focused on that.
It's even higher level.
You guys.
See,
I got confused. Even more than you.
That's what question mark it is.
More than the other day.
Same as last week.
No, I don't know if you could say this.
Already experienced. Fisher? Daniel, we're gonna stay with our group.
Yes, in the class.
Yeah, so actually, yeah, it's a good point. So this right here is the value.
Your motivational speech in the beginning of the class today was very encouraging.
Oh, yeah?
I get to figure that text because I'm not like reading it. I'm not like, I'm the type of person that's a doer, you know?
Right, yeah.
So it's like defeating at first when you said that earlier and everyone said it's like,
Yeah, it just takes time. It's a different kind of industry. It's kind of always takes time, the first time.
counseling,
Oh, yeah.
processing people's minds to typing and learning this.
Right.
Not a different.
Yep. Joanna, you're good? Getting it?
Yeah, it's just, as you said, I always don't let go.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of know the pieces of it. Like everyone is different.
Right. Right. And these activities, the mini projects are supposed to help, but I want you guys to look at the code that is already there. I know we gave you the starter pack, right? A lot of students kind of skip through that. They don't see. I'm saying we give you like a starter template that you're going to do right now. And a lot of students
When you click it, that's going to trigger the one that's going to be their partner. And then you got to
but
click
that's how you develop, and that's what you connect
And
it
if I
off.
win,
No, that's what I was saying. It has method. That's why I want you guys to work in a group also, because somebody will see that you always want a second pair of eyes.
And what happens is, you're like, I just did this time I showed you the second game, just
where each character has
each hard line, really hard.
and
Right.
then they have a task.
But still,
For the games, every time you attack, you get strong.
Okay.
But counterattack stays the same. So your fighter, their attack
Right.
goes up.
so that's the.
And then the person that's defending,
Yeah.
they use counter. So say I have EQ, I have
If let's look back. What about HTML, CSS? You're quite comfortable with it, right? So when you go progress, you will see that, oh yeah, these variable declaration functions, that kind of. It takes practice, kind of comes segmentation. And when you get to the more difficult one, you're going to feel the same thing, but you will feel better about it.
until somebody's in series.
Yeah. No, and ask questions you're working that you don't understand, and you will see the people are very receptive to answering those questions. They will start with, I see the group over here, I see people are very, they will try to help you, so, speak up and then, get that help. Alright? This will be an interesting exercise, and I'm excited to see you guys working on it. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Right.
And it's just majority.
Yeah. Right. Just keep practicing. All right, let's start with the mini project. Okay, let me show you how what's the final stage. Okay, this is the solved one. This is how it should look like. Now, you don't have to worry about HTML and CSS. The starter template that you will get already has this built in. All right, we'll see the unsolved one. So it's a calculator. You can use this. Should show up this. Okay, simple. It has all the 4 operations: add, subtract, multiply, divide, and this is power. Okay, to the power. So if I say 9 to the power 2, should say 81. That's what this is. Okay, so you have 5 operations. This is not done, so you have to do these button clicks and then perform the operations, equal to sign, and then clear should clear the result. Okay. And if it's negative, oops, wrong button. This will give you the negative one. All the operations that you see. Okay, this is the final one, and let me show you the starter code that you guys have. This is what you guys have. So nothing happens, you click anything. All right, none of these are working. So the purpose of this exercise is that you have to register, you have to get those button clicks, what is clicked, and then the result component or the result card is where you will perform their operations. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Now, I have divided this into 4 phases. Let me go ahead and send this to you guys first. Okay, so Nick already sent you the code, the starter file, and I'm sending you the instruction. So the first 15 minutes, I want you guys to take a look at the code. Start from the top. All right, I know the HTML CSS is already there, but it is important that the team understand what's going on because you are going to use this HTML in your jQuery, okay, to access that. So go through it, discuss, make sure you answer all these questions. And these are discussion points, all right? If you have anything extra, the purpose of this is you're going to pseudocode. You're not going to start coding right now. You're going to spend some time. You're going to look at the code as a whole and see what's going on in the starter template. You're going to make sure you understand what button click is responding to what are the operator buttons. If you want to test, write some code in the end, towards the end of 15 minutes, if you want to test out the on-click ones. But before that, I want the team to discuss, make sure everybody understands where is the HTML for each one of them, right? We'll take 15 minutes and then I'll post the next phase. Next phase would be more the coding part, all right?
No, I know, I did, I just kind of found the directions, all buttons on right?
So with jQuery.
What's the class of button primary yeah. How would you what date how would you want
Well,
Am I making any sense?
you are. You are. I think the answer to your question, because they do all have the same classes, button, primary buttons, and then number, we look at the ID. Because each one has a unique ID.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so the button one, okay, thank you. I
yeah.
didn't know where to grab
And then, so I think we've also been handed a pretty good with this because we also have the value attribute on each button. So we can capture the value, like when what Jay was saying, on the on-click function, so when somebody clicks on it, we're going to make sure that we grab a value of the value attribute, the value of the value attribute, and we store that into a little buffer, and we concatenate each value together. So, like, say you press button 1, 2, 3. We're going, since they're strings, we can concatenate it together. 123, but it will still be a string. So we're going to need to change that into an integer. And we don't need to do that until we hit one of the operator buttons, which luckily is so I was just yeah. Who wants to share? We don't have to. With that instead of posting in our slide deck.
Yeah, and then he would.
I was trying to open this. Yeah. That is one. So that we'll just do this. So we can see like this is part
I don't think he actually because each button already has like 8 values. So no, what we could do is
The value.
yeah, or it's just grab the attribute, get the attribute.
although if we do need to I'm sure
JavaScript always down there.
I don't think that they just throw that on there.
So, in the
Well, like the buttons already have those. They already have the attributes, and it's called value. And then it's already got the yeah, see, so value 0. Right there. So we just need to grab whatever values in value. Not yet. First, because what if they want to type in 120?
Can I skip to the end of the story?
Yeah, so I think the easiest way would be to treat it as a string until we're ready to do an operation. And then once we hit the operator button, we can take that string, convert it into a number. And then we start building up our second number, our next number. And then once we're building up the second number, like we did the first one, by concatenating the strings together to make the number that they want, then we can parse that into a integer as well. And then when we get equals, we take the first integer we have, put the operation in, perform the operation, and use the second integer we've done, and then we output these ones. I think what Daniel was saying is that you should just write out and you get distracted and go back to what you thought you were supposed to do. We haven't really done anything.
All right, I'm going to pause for the phase 2. This is where you begin the coding part. Hopefully everybody went through, understands how the HTML is working. This is phase 2. You will be spending the coding time 30 minutes or so. You will be starting the coding part now. Okay. This is just some hints to get you started, but if you guys already kind of figured it out, you guys are most welcome to go your path and start the coding part. Again, these are some hints if you're stuck how to start, okay?
I think we need to change that. It's from just because what if they happen to click the plus button? So instead of the button, the BTN press, the number press. No, it's just number 4.
Because now we're saying, on the point of the number. Now we're doing this. Okay, that makes sense.
Also, I don't think that because we're just saying like on click do this.
I was gonna do like first number, wherever they click on.
But we can. You've already got the variable declared up here. First
So we're
number.
already storing it within.
So we're just going to be putting it in there. So we would do number equals. Is that your number?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then two strings.
Yeah. I forget the multiply.
It's like
Because sometimes it does not.
yeah.
So
adding, and the second number.
on click, we're going to be doing this. We're going to be assigning to the variable first number. We're going to get we are going to
First number equals 0, second number equals that, first number. If both whenever you type in the first number.
I don't know.
The first number is that.
I fixed it. Okay, perfect. All right, so I thought it would be an empty string because now we're saying whatever number.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we do the first number?
He said
We do the click function that gets the value, and then we do like so if you can, I'm just going off here and tell us like a little bit of help, like hints, like so on that function, if you're noticing it, if this symbol is present.
Yeah. What I think we can do it that way. I think we can go about it that way. What I was thinking is like because what we have right here is an event listener, so it's for whenever a number button is pressed, it will run this function. Like, if we have it for an operator button, if they click on an operator button, then we can say then do this.
I'm sorry. If first number plus, and I'm assuming we have to do this for division and for one of these too, but if this is the symbol and it's equal, how would we do this off?
That's why I would
Right now.
So right now, create their now the next step would be create code and capture the number of buttons. Yeah. That would be or do that.
So
Because all we're doing is making the deck
what I'm trying to say, and I feel like is so with this right here, what I'm saying is yeah, okay. Then you can. Okay, so first number we're going to get. Yeah. I was looking at this and we need to get attribute value, and then we're going to be assigning that, and then
There's console login.
Yeah. See if that prints it out.
Reference 0, 1, whatever the first number that it's referencing what the first number is, and then it's referencing the second number, because we're only pressing 2 numbers, never doing a third.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
You want me to-
consider all the variables, but all the variables are starting from 0, so they don't want to start from 0, they all can be so,
Oh, so I did a general Google search of jQuery get attribute of element, and then oh, tab get attribute DOM element.
Was it get
When did you press on it?
Yes, that's what I did. So then I put attribute and now it's printing out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay.
So we got to get to convert it. Now we just need to get it to
So then, what I have been doing in my Pigman game is I've been doing first number equals first, I guess
and then you can add plus, right, so you don't add, it doesn't assign this one.
So we need somehow to tell the computer that we need to somehow tell the program that we're done clicking on this. So
Then, so then we're paying that. So it's this.
Yeah.
Once this happens, then
yeah, so we do exactly yeah. So I think the if statement would be if first number
yeah.
is not equal to let me just write that.
And result.
Not equal to string. Then we're going to do what we just wrote here.
So not to call the ID.
And then just and then
you put it
I
in here.
yeah, I put it in the if statement. If first number
So now it's not
yeah.
it's not
Because it's saying, because that's going to be coming up as false, because first number is empty.
yeah.
So that comes up as false.
So it's equal.
So,
So read this to me as what the first number equals not an empty.
So we have to change it to
yeah.
Yeah.
So it will be that. But then we also want to make sure that it keeps going.
So this what is minus one? What is that? So first number equals first number plus this half.
So it's adding not adding it to it's just so if I press one and then I press two.
Okay, so then.
Don't judge me.
So we can add on to this. No, we can't tell them. That's just that. And then we have to do the same thing for the second number. So the same code. So if the second number is equal to the string on this, now we're doing this. But now we have the first number. So we need to be able to click the plus minus.
The operator needs to say we're done. Done with
That's what that's saying right now. We're done. As we close that up, we're done with that.
Yeah.
So then now we just have one click of plus minus.
Right.
So that first part, I think in if I don't use it in case.
Yeah, so it's this, I agree with you.
So if multiplication or divide or.
If symbol is collective.
Okay, right now.
So.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, that is going to the same. So if I do a.
It's all you. Not even touching it. It's because you need to pull one. Oh no, it's. I think it's like how it resolved entirely.
Here we are.
Then it's
Yeah, switch.
mimic the credit is.
So I guess they'll be better.
Take like number 1, then subtract number 2.
So we need to find out.
But do we have to say on the
Yeah, I'm just trying to do like, yeah, I'm just trying to see.
So let me know what you're thinking. Where are you? Where are your thoughts going? Because I know my thoughts are going in a different direction, but I want to know what you guys are thinking. Because you guys could be
I'm thinking, I guess I'm kind of stuck around this. We have to do this way. So we have this, sorry, now that we have to clear up, we have to function the first button. We click these two buttons. We now go to step 2. The buttons are subdivide our units where you have to do functions of those 4 different buttons. Right.
I think I'm on just way ahead. I just need to slow down that.
Well, let's write it down. This is my work life coming in. So, step 1, so far we have
Capture the value for first.
now we have to capture for symbol. Then we capture this for the second. And then we go for, which would be answer. Well, I'm thinking let's stay within the steps we have to create first. So the pseudocode. So then we'd have the answer, right? So this is how we're going to set it. This is the setup.
I think we need to check. We have to do the before 4 and after 3. We check what we have to do for the actual numbers, like what we do, like subtract it or minus or plus it.
Yeah. So I think that's what is that here because we're giving value to the symbol.
So I think we need to capture the symbol and then run a code to.
So here is what I'm thinking. We need to just let the user press as many buttons for the first number as possible. Then we need to know if they're done entering the first number or not. So I'm thinking we need like an on-off switch. So that would tell me we need a Boolean somewhere. So how about when we capture the symbol, we do like on the onClick function, like we have a variable out here that says first number entered, and from the beginning, so we do bar, whatever, first.
But I'm curious around.
So first, sorry, just really quick. First number entered equal to false. When they press the operator button, we call a function that sets this value to true and captures the value of the operator button.
I get where you're going now.
So if this variable is true, then we start recording for our second number.
Because it then has
This
to
one,
know
number checker.
It has to know before we move on.
The number checker exercise.
Now we're done with that.
That makes sense.
Look at how they are
So
accessing
like you
the
would agree
value.
that these are the steps that we have to follow. So now I guess with that in mind,
Look at the
we need to
solution
click
for the number
Yeah,
checker.
have an idea of where we're going first.
Number checker.
You all needed to be able to
Yes, we
speak
needed
the
to
same
speak
words.
the same.
Yeah.
So
So
we get the values of the So when do we turn?
So I'm just gonna
So that's the thing of random number. We're not going to pick random number. So we don't need anything here.
So we couldn't use that to like.
It's a
I
gag.
thought that was the key to success right there. I thought I figured it out. That's how we do.
so if
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you.
then we run those.
And then I'll be formatted on.
Yeah.
So look at the screen.
Oh, because that's
Right, yeah.
There you go.
And he was talking about the short cut, you can just get all our people around.
There we go. No, it's not set with us. We're getting them together.
Because all good programs don't reinvent code. They go and they find code, and then they
Something similar to what we have.
because when we lost it,
Where is operator on? How we doing? Insurgent. So on click, when an operator button is clicked,
An operator button is
like plus, minus, multiply, divide. How we doing?
now.
Then we need,
Question.
yeah.
We're not sure. What is server? Because I'm thinking that it has to do with this. Is this the right place for that code?
Yes, because we aren't actually.
We're just.
I mean, I mean, it doesn't matter because it doesn't do anything until it's
clicked.
clicked.
So it's just reading the code and then it's like, oh, this is what they. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
We're defining
Yeah.
it. Got it.
And all this is going to wait until the document is ready.
So then that's what's first he's trying things out. First number plus operator.
I don't think we need to do that quite yet.
Okay.
So now what we're doing is we have to get the bike, like so we have to
Yeah,
bunch
so-
big click and then basically the attributes.
I'm going to just put in first number is entered, and then I'm going to set it to true. For that, just so that way we can say like, okay, we're done. Well, we only want that to happen if they've actually entered anything into the first number. So if it's an empty string, we don't want them to be able to do. We don't want this to happen. We don't want it to switch over to the second. So I'm thinking just.
infinity.
Then do that. Only do it if it's not empty. So if it's got anything besides empty, that should go on the operator. Then
So we have now done one. We have now
I think we're halfway through two.
two. Okay.
Then
The three should be easy because we kind of already did
Yeah,
it.
we've already did it.
then we need to so just this also needs. I think this also needs to be. Yeah, this will just be whatever. I was thinking. So what I was thinking is we needed to wrap this capturing the operator in an if statement, but that's not right because what if they accidentally find event add? So we just need to make that reset. So we need to now assign into your operator variable the value of whatever operator that we're using. So I think operator.
I didn't do that.
Just like what we have there. Attribute.
Isn't that what this does here? Like, does the first attribute the value?
And so now they should run and let's just really quick Oh yeah, because that's upper maybe it doesn't do.
This is commented out, so it shouldn't even match.
How many picks?
So now let's start on the second one.
So then it would be if first number is
Why don't you say one?
So
That's good. Now, break it down into steps. So what first number is second.
So then we do
There are more picks.
just numbers. Yeah, there's only two options. So if the first number entered is true, then we're going to want to do the same exact thing, but instead of first number, we're entering second number.
You guys are thinking ahead. First, you don't have to go for honest.
It's not displaying it because the console and we don't have it.
Then come to the and how many picks? Why did I say four? These are all the last time you said one back. It doesn't matter what you consider
do we have to
right?
I just copy things and paste
Yeah, yes, that's the idea.
Never mind. Sorry, I got excited. Second number is second number.
Captures the four.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to start the phase 3, but phase 3 kind of has the assumption that you guys are already on a good path. You know, for the next 20 minutes, you guys need to kind of figure out, kind of resolve some bugs or something. But I see some people are still struggling, so I'm going to start. I'm going to give you like a hint or a coding part. I'm not going slowly. I'm going to try to start coding, and I'm going to finish this by 9:15. So you guys have half an hour more. If you guys, if some team is already on its way, kind of figure out, please keep doing what you are doing. All right. I'm going to start a little bit coding so that I see some people are struggling. So kind of give you kind of head start. How do we start this? Okay. Seems like you guys already figured it out. So
I don't think we got it figured out.
I
Adam?
don't think we're on the right track, right? That really is.
Okay.
If we want something to show up.
Again, remember you guys don't have to come up with the logic from the start. First start with a simple part. So,
I feel that we have to do the F statement for the second.
what is the simple part? The first thing I want to capture
What do you mean
clicks.
by that?
So if we're
Okay.
saying the first number, we're
How many clicks are these?
on
Oh, this is the. I can click any numbers, then I click an operator, then I click numbers again, and then press equal to. And then there's a clear. So there are a total of 4 clicks. One is this numbers, one represents these operators, and one represents this equal to, and one represents the clear button. So start coding 4 click events first. Empty click events, console log, and see if the click works. Is that how you guys started? You guys have the click events?
yeah, we have. So we've got the first number.
Blair and team, you guys got the click events? Okay.
We haven't created a function for the computer to say, okay, we've got this plus this, and now what do we want you to do with this? So it's just adding.
Well, that's what I'm not understanding what's happening.
Yeah.
Because we have this if statement
Yeah.
to where it says if the first number entered, the variable first number entered is equal to false, then do this. Then do this stuff. Otherwise, start adding stuff to the second number.
So it's not like it's like.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not doing that. So we've got something not right somewhere.
I feel like it's just like something we have to say, which is why that word is something was offered.
Yeah.
Oh.
One second. So, I just, I don't think this is what I saw then.
The first number plus the second.
So the thing is that so even after we so what vary the value of that, it's still running.
Variable first number,
This
operator,
first
variable second
Got it.
number. And we have like all these
First number. Okay, that's fine. Quick equal what?
Yeah, I don't think
Can
Should it be set to 0?
well, it's like
That's
ways
what the
where
code
I'll
that
let
we
you.
looked at had.
I'll let you
So
decide.
that was-
I'll let you decide. So we have 3 variables so far, right? So you have first number, second number, and operator. So we should have one. So you're your first number, you have your second number, you have operator, and variable for total, right? Result. And then you need to figure out how
Are you saying
you can differentiate them between when you're done selecting the first number and when you're done selecting the second number, right? So as you're typing in your first number, so
do math.
111, for example,
we're going to be doing that
you
later?
get plus,
I think.
then you should be typing
So-
the second number.
Yeah, I'm thinking
So how can you make that switch?
maybe change this from first number to false. Change that from operator, if operator
Connor, this is how you do the click.
is equal to and in the string start adding to the first number. But then if operator, once they press a button in the operator,
First number's done, right?
once they press an operator
When
button,
an operator, first number is
then
done.
it should start doing that.
So,
I can't put it on my computer.
yeah,
like is first number entered. Yeah. Like, you can set that to false initially because there is no first number. As soon as you hit an operator, change to true, then that's when you start typing
I
in.
don't know why it's not there.
So we have an false, but once it is an operator, we have to set it to true.
Which we should be doing.
But we haven't. So we've
You
already,
don't necessarily do the
first
second
number
one,
is
you
entered
can.
as false. But once the if, then operator added, and then with that, that first we have false, right?
Yeah. At the very bottom of we're going to have it set to be false.
Then you're
So
done.
once we get an operator, don't we switch it to true?
That's what this bit right here is supposed to be doing.
Numbers, the operators,
But
for equal, for clear. So clear,
I don't think it matters. Like we can move it around.
so numbers, operators.
I mean, I don't think it'll hurt anything.
So
Yeah, let's
but
do
I
it.
don't see
the
it.
operator gives us
The false piece is at the very top
so in
with
the
the other
operator,
variables.
that is supposed to tell the program, hey, we selected number one. When we hit equal,
Sorry.
that is supposed to say, hey, the second number is number, right? So technically, you only need one as number entered per se. Right? Because as soon as we're ready to hit equals, we need to, you know, right. But using, you know, we have to use some logic to see if we have a second number entered, right? So if we don't, then we have nothing to, you know, do arithmetic. So, with that being said, you can use another Boolean variable, but instead of his second number entered, you can use something like is calculated. So if it's not calculated, you can enter it. Then we have the second number. But for first and second number, since we have multiple buttons, right? So each time we're adding, you know, more buttons, the more times we. So if we hit 111, you know, it needs to be 111 and not, you know, 3. So we're not adding those numbers together. We're concatenating. So we concatenate.
I feel like check what data type to use.
So it's something close.
Right.
Okay. It's like, tell me right.
Sorry, guys.
You guys had a question? Yeah, so we have an if statement set up. So we have a variable at the very beginning set to false, saying that the first number is entered equals false. Sure. So we say if first number is entered is equal to false, then do this. Our problem is when we have so do that. And then when an operator is like, you want to change it, and we only wanted to do that if the first number is not in a string. So then we would change first number is entered equal to is accurate so far?
No, I know. I'm
Yes.
trying to.
So you see how you have this event handler set up outside of an if? You have this event handler set up inside the if? I would not use it. I would put your logic inside. So that when you do click the number, okay, so you're saying. So you're saying so what you're doing here is you're setting up two bindings for clicking the same button. That time gets to be outside. Yes. So you only need one number, not two. Because if you set up a second, you're not going to have a second binding set up for that number. You'll probably have double numbers.
So that's why it's just adding, so that would be.
Events always go outside. Unless you have a specific reason to put.
to bind an event if something else happens. But for the sake of this example, I would have all of your event handlers right underneath document.ready. And then all your logic needs to go inside. That would look like logic. So initially, this first number entered is false. So what we do is, if it's false, you know, we start entering, you know, numbers, and it'll correlate to the first number. As soon as we hit operator, we have to check to see if we have a number like you have. If we do, then is, you know, number entered is true. Then concentrate on entering the second number. Makes sense? Yeah. You need to make it so that whenever right now I'm trying to get I just broke the
Yes, sir.
Functionality question.
Okay.
They hit 2 to the power 3, it outputs 8.
Yes.
They haven't hit clear yet.
Okay.
Do we need to make it smart enough to handle them start to hit more buttons?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a quick thing.
Okay.
But you need to keep
Just
track
lock
of
them out would be okay, or do you want us to auto clear if they start typing again, like a real calculator?
Whichever is easier. I think if you click anything and nothing, it's like kind of disabled, like nothing happens, it becomes easier. But if you can auto clear it also, that's also fine.
Okay.
But how would you auto clear it? Like once they get the
we have to
result?
store some variable that says they've hit equals, and then if there's some on click when that's set, it runs a clear function.
Okay, but
that's
I'll be
complicated.
able to see the that's complicated. So somehow what you can do is you can keep track that when somebody has hit equal to, right? Yeah.
Just store equals and hit.
Or store. And
Right,
you would probably need
As a boolean, right?
Yeah, that would be easier way.
Boolean is that like called.
Who got it?
The other.
Oh.
Your first one, I'd never heard him say boolean before. It just sounded so weird.
What did you say?
Boolean.
Boolean.
Like, you know, boo like a ghost,
Yeah.
lean like sand.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah.
Like, I've talked to a lot of programmers, but I've never heard boolean before.
It's got its own value.
Yeah, that's the easier solution. Anyway.
It's not an operator or a number. It's not. I'm going to go eat all this garbage.
Alright, now you're
So, yes, currently it is saved as a string, but I think this is a good place for the switch statements, because then we yeah, add like we'll do first number, two string, or two int, whatever parse int, whatever it is, parse int, and then plus second number parse int into set to result. Then we can append our result into the template. Yes.
He's starting with on
Yes. I'm sorry. I had my.
Guys got this?
I got issues. Yeah. So that's what that we just need to set up the event list for that, so that way it can run. The code that we're going to be writing.
Yeah, you can use that. You can use switch.
I would say switch just because there's so many options.
In this case, I would switch because it's easier to read. That way you don't have to have it. So yeah, you can use switch in this case. Notice the variables that you have.
Yeah, Jay was on top of that. So it was like, he just knew what was the
Yeah, so the major one is when you put the operator. That's when you have a variable to identify if the first number is actually there's actually a first number. Or when you that's when you switch, sorry. That's when you switch to using a second. But you have to check to see if there is a first number. So if you just hit operator, it shouldn't work. If that makes sense. So if you have a blank calculator, if you just hit an operator, it shouldn't work because you don't have a first number. So you have to do a number first, and then when you select an operator, that's when you check to see if you actually do have this.
I think we have that set up, right? We have a false.
Yeah, on our operator event list, where we can say first number cannot be an empty string. I think that's what we have for the result. This is where
What? What is what?
Don't worry, I'll go over there.
It's a shortcut for this.
yeah, the value that we're but it's not. I thought for a second it would be possible. It's not.
It'd be a string.
Yeah.
Because it is a string.
Yeah.
It It's the value of whatever the button value was for that operator. So like for plus button. Yes. I think you just parse in first number, like exactly what you have right there, without setting. Yeah, without plugging that in. So because we already have the result variable declared outside of this, I don't think we need to return it. But we are. Like we have it like right here, we're setting result equal to first number plus second. Oh, yeah. No. Let's just see. We got basic.
What? Yeah, go ahead. You have a question?
Thank you.
I'm like
I think it's. I don't know.
It is.
Every time I try scrolling, it just
yeah,
pulls me back.
Stop typing.
Yeah, it's minus. Because it's right after button 6. Return.
Yeah.
So we are. So case is just like.
So we're just saying
Yeah, that is what we want. So in the switch statement, we're handing in the key operator. So if operator is equal to plus, then we run the code in that switch statement. If it's equal to minus, we're going to.
So we don't have
I'm going to do
JavaScript.
Is it? Yeah.
Because I know that in some other ones, okay, it's start starting. That's what I thought it was. I was just thinking if it's my part.
So with direct break.
Go for it.
So that breaks us out.
Do we take out this default?
No, default is like if it doesn't do anything. So if you write in remainder, that's not a sign or anything like that. It's like it'll say it'll go to
So it's done. Almost. Got it. Breaking my heart by don't you getting that. And then the other one is power. I think it's just called
Yeah,
power.
Yeah, so I started off without it, and I still wanted that one of my I kept adding more spaces, and then it wasn't, and then I was having the others, and then that was the
Dang it.
Y'all got there.
The moment I waited for it, and then did that. I was like, maybe I'll just do it.
Let's check it. Let's check it.
I'm not sure if that's right.
So crazy. Well, we just need to
Yay.
It worked.
And now we need to do it for clear. That was step
Just
5.
clear. So yeah, clear is super easy because we just need to reset first numbers entered to false, set first number to an empty string, second number to an empty string. Just pretty much everything that we have right here.
Yeah, that'll all.
Okay.
No, on the web there.
No, I'm not. Well,
Actually, there's only one clear button.
Is that autosave? Is that autosave?
I don't know. It might go by. I'm not sure.
Cool, this is getting it to work and actually, like I can figure it out. So I was wondering if I need to line it saved in my folders, if there's a saved on my, so that future I can
Well, actually, it's
I don't want because I know that's like
right, I do. I was in the.
Let me just reset it all.
I do it to make sure that the result is
Right.
Oh.
So we could
I think we can just, yeah, I think we're just running up, we just append each values. So if we look back up into the HTML, we see result card that we have both. We've got.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just looking at. I don't like how it keeps throwing me back. So card body. So we have ID first number. So we just need to append it into first number, the value of first number. And then we need to append it to the ID operator, our operator. And same thing.
What I did was the one I got from GitHub, I took a copy of the whole thing and it worked. It worked because when I copied it into the one that you were doing, I only copied the
Sorry, I spaced out. It's going to be in quotations, hash.
And I would go through, I mean,
We're selecting that.
For that, or
Is that what is that? What is it? First, patient number, and this
and it'll still work.
dot append.
Not strictly. Right. Well, if you did something equals 0 or equal to a variable,
And yeah, so I'm thinking actually might want that.
it's the same sort of like idea, but
on-click function. Instead of having the concept out of that, I want to do that. So I'm able to buy that. Well, I think it keeps toning me down. Okay, so first, so grabbing the ID first number. Oh.
putting it all together.
We'll just throw it on.
so you're just displaying it on the screen. That's what that's.
Make sure.
And then we need to do the same thing second one.
Right. So this is when the operator is going to click here. I'm assuming it changes what operator means. So it's small and small. So then after you click operator, it goes into that. So it's not the else.
This is L2 the condition.
Yeah, right. It's not that.
Now, for operator, how do we get it to show the symbol instead of the string that we pass in?
Two string.
It's already a string.
Come on, you said there'd be 4 variables. And then whatever that value is. You never said that. You said there'd be 4 clicks.
It was a suggestion. Yeah, 4 clicks. So basic thing is done. If you so this is working. It will work, right? You can implement these also. This will work. The extra stuff that I'm doing is that what happens if you click it again. Those are the stuff. So you kind of have to stop. That somebody cannot click it again. So that's why you need more variables, more kind of Boolean variables, so that you can stop somebody from clicking it again. So I'm introducing a new variable, is calculated, which turns true when you click equal to. This means that the calculation has been done. And you should stop over here. If somebody presses something else now, it shouldn't be working because you have pressed equal to, an answer shows up. Now you don't want anything else being pressed, right? So you need to stop that. Everything else right now is cosmetic, but this is the basic one that you add stuff, do it, press clear, and it clears away. So now, right. So when I press equal to, right, I want to say that this has been calculated now, right? And then I need to, when somebody now tries to press other than the clear, right? So I want to check that. Let's suppose I try to press a number again. This is by number click, right? If is calculated, this means that somebody has clicked it, right? Return. This means that don't do anything. Just exit out of this function. Just return. Don't do anything, right? And how do you go back? If you look at my clear function, I will have to set that back to false. When somebody clicks the clear button, this means everything should be reset. Calculation has not been done. Everything disappears. Everything kind of goes back to the initial state. That's the only reason it's there. So these are more cosmetic, but the real thing was these 4 click buttons. Add them, multiply them, whatever you want. Okay. All right. All right, guys. We have 5 minutes. I'll post this solution. We'll talk. But everybody kind of gets the idea what's going on. Basic click functionality. How do you capture the click and then add and multiply? Rest of the stuff is more cosmetic. Okay. So Nick, can you introduce the homework and then we'll do the checkpoint after that. Again, the checkpoint is for JavaScript. It doesn't count towards your grade or anything. It's more how much you have learned. It's more reflection for me. Okay? So let's do the checkpoint. Nick is going to do the homework and then we'll do the checkpoint. So you need a...
I don't even remember what it was.
It's that Star Wars or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think the mouse is not working for some reason.
Huh. All right, that's fine.
Oh, they might mean like writing it to one again. Do like have been doing have it right now. For the moment. Yes. We're trying to get operator. We're trying to get the text of the button. So if you press the minus, we want to get X in the file. X is on parentheses under it right here.
Where do you have the like the whole full stack lesson plan?
Oh.
I was just gonna open the homework folder and just load it up from there.
Oh.
Oh, that's.
So we are on. Oh, you want to see this? The
Yeah,
whole
just
thing?
just that whole folder is fine.
So is it in class content? Should be, right?
Yeah, jQuery and then just that homework folder is fine.
Checkpoint the crash course.
No, the checkpoint where they have to take the quiz.
Okay, where's that at?
You got it?
Yeah.
And then. Oh, we don't have a result. Oh, because it hasn't moved that. Empty. Oh, yeah, the weird.
Yes. Sounds good. Sounds good. I did it right away.
Okay. So let me go over homework really quick. Again, for the jQuery homework, we will have two separate assignments for you to work on. One is the easier homework assignment. The other one is the recommended. So starting off with the easy one. So you guys will be creating a game called Crystal Collector. And basically, you guys remember an activity that we did before. We have the target score, your score, how many wins, how many losses. Each crystal has a value. So when you click on it, it'll update your score to whatever that value is. So if I click on the blue one, you'll see that it's worth 8. If I click on red, it's worth 9. If I'm doing my math right. 10, so forth. So obviously the point of the game is to click on each one of these to hit the target score. If you hit it, you win. If you don't, you lose. So, green. Sweet. So, I won. I get an alert, and once I hit OK, the wins should increase. Now, if I go through and I lose, I also get an alert saying I lost, and then we get a loss count. So, yeah, so this one is fairly easy. Like I said, we did an activity that's literally exactly the same thing. However, I don't know if we keep track of wins and losses on that one, so probably not. So, however, anyway, so do you guys get the point of this game? Yeah? Any questions?
Does there have to be a solution? Like we could get not
I believe each value is a unique, randomly generated number for the value. If that's what you're asking. I don't believe so. I think you just lose. So. Oh, okay. I think. Let me see here. Okay.
Oh, you marked out a bit.
Yeah, but they were like randomly put it into each one.
Yeah.
To hard code for value, and then so that's the only way you can get on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Randomly placing a number.
Yeah. So looking at the homework instructions, so each crystal should have a random value between 1 and 12. So you could make it a little bit more sophisticated in that each one does not have the same number. So if this is a 3, none of these can be a 3. This is a 5, none of these can be a 3 and 5, and so forth. So you can check for that, which I would highly recommend. That way you don't have 2 of the same number. So. But yeah, each value has to be a random number between 1 and 12. So, and then your score should be between 19 and 120. So it's all in the instructions. So cool. Any other questions? Cool. Okay. So that's the crystal collector. The other homework assignment is a Star Wars game. For those of you who don't like Star Wars, well, tough love. Okay, so here's a Star Wars game. So for the Star Wars game, we have 4 characters. Essentially the main goal of this game is you'll select a character, you'll select an enemy, you'll attack, and whoever's health drops first, they lose. So if I were to select Obi, and then I select Luke, so when I hit attack, Obi will be attacking Luke and he will be defending. So as I hit attack, we have, I know it's kind of hard to see, but there's info on the bottom that says you attacked Luke for 8, Luke attacked you back for 5. So it's essentially a game where you just keep attacking each other. The first two, yeah, to the death, to the death. So notice that once we beat the enemy, so we're not done yet. So we still have 2 others. So the main object is basically to choose a character, fight against everybody else, and obviously beat all of them. So. I can't believe that worked on the first try. So, so we won, game over. And we can also restart the game down here. And let me pick somebody else I can lose. I can't be beaten. So, I think so. So does this make sense for everybody? Yeah? I know, right? Seriously.
No. You need to be teaching us a lottery number generator, and then
that's true.
And then you go back.
I'll build one. We'll all use it. We'll split winnings. We'll talk about it.
Got it.
Anyways, so does anyone have any questions on this game? Well, that's the trick that I can't tell you. But so I'll give you a little bit of a hint. So obviously, we have 4 different characters. I would highly recommend that you guys use objects. Remember, we've been creating objects. We've been tinkering with objects, right? The use of objects will be very beneficial and keep your code very, very clean for you. So that's the one hint that I will give to you guys. As far as for both games, as far as UI is concerned, please feel free to customize however you guys want. You guys don't necessarily need to use the this background, and this is kind of lame. It's kind of nice to have it in the middle of the screen and so forth. So so feel free to put a little bit of flair into your guys' apps, and that's pretty much it for the homework. So so if there's no other questions, we'll send you out the checkpoint. Oh, you got it? Okay. So go ahead and do the checkpoint, and then I think you guys are good to go after that.
Yes.